The US-India tariff war, a battle for economic sovereignty in the shadow of global power politics. United States economic bullying in the guise of trade policy. In the theater of global trade, the United States has long played the role of economic overlord, wielding tariffs not as tools of fair competition, but as blunt instruments of coercion. The US-India tariff war is not merely a disagreement over trade balances or market access. It is a clash of ideologies, a confrontation between imperial economic muscle and sovereign resistance. The U.S., under successive administrations, has repeatedly imposed punitive tariffs on Indian goods, ranging from steel and aluminum to agricultural products, under the pretext of protecting American industries. But beneath this veneer of economic nationalism lies a deeper strategy: to bend developing economies to Washington's will, using trade barriers as modern-day shackles. Scroll historical undercurrents, a pattern of pressure. Trade tensions between the US and India are not new. Since the early 2000s, Washington has consistently pressured New Delhi to open its markets to American corporations, often disregarding India's domestic priorities. Whether it was pharmaceutical patents, agricultural subsidies, or digital data localization, the U.S. has sought to rewrite India's economic playbook to suit its own interests. The revocation of India's preferential trade status under the Generalized System of Preferences, GSP, in 2019 was a watershed moment. It wasn't just a tariff tweak, it was a symbolic slap, a declaration that India would be punished for refusing to play by America's rules. The move affected billions in exports and sent a clear message: economic independence comes at a cost when the U.S. is involved. Recent flashpoints, tariffs as weapons. In recent years, the U.S. has escalated its tariff regime, targeting Indian goods with surgical precision. From imposing duties on Indian steel and aluminum to threatening tariffs on textiles and auto parts, the strategy has been consistent: use economic pressure to extract concessions. These actions are not isolated. They are part of a broader pattern where the U.S. weaponizes trade to enforce its geopolitical agenda. Developing nations like India are expected to comply, or face economic retaliation. It's a form of modern-day dictatorship, where trade policy becomes a tool of dominance, not diplomacy. India's response: dignified defiance. India, however, has refused to bow. In a series of calculated countermeasures, New Delhi has imposed retaliatory tariffs on American goods, including almonds, apples, and walnuts, products that hit key U.S. constituencies. More importantly, India has doubled down on its commitment to protect domestic industries, from agriculture to manufacturing, asserting its right to economic self-determination. India's stance is not just reactive, it is principled. By resisting U.S. pressure, India is defending the very idea of fair trade. It is challenging the notion that global commerce must be dictated by the whims of a single superpower. In doing so, India is not just protecting its economy, it is reclaiming its dignity. Globe showing Europe-Africa geopolitical undercurrents, beyond tariffs. This trade war is not just economic, it is deeply geopolitical. The U.S. sees India as a strategic partner, but only on its own terms. When India asserts its autonomy, whether in trade, defense, or digital policy, it is met with resistance. The tariff war is a symptom of a larger struggle: the fight for multipolarity in a world still dominated by American exceptionalism. India's defiance sends a powerful message to other developing nations: sovereignty is not negotiable. In a world where economic coercion is increasingly disguised as diplomacy, India's resistance is a beacon of hope for nations seeking to chart their own course. Balanced scale conclusion: a war of principles, not just profits. The US-India tariff war is more than a clash of numbers, it is a battle of values. On one side stands a global hegemon, using its economic might to enforce compliance. On the other stands a resilient democracy, defending its industries, its people, and its right to trade with dignity. India's fight is not just for itself, it is for every nation that refuses to be bullied into submission. In the face of economic dictatorship, India has chosen defiance. And in that defiance lies the true spirit of sovereignty.